All right, we have University of Illinois head coach John Groce here. Coach, we'll ask you to make an opening statement, then we'll take questions from the floor. Again, as usual, please give us your name and affiliation with your question. Coach?
Obviously, we're excited to have the opportunity to play in the round of 32, and our guys have worked really hard to get to this point. Playing a great, Miami team tomorrow. You don't win the ACC championship or the tournament championship, and unless you've done a lot of things right. Obviously they're well coached. They've got great size, great depth, good guard play. They shoot the ball well. They're very good defensively, very solid. So it's going to be a great challenge for us tomorrow, but our guys are excited about it. To have the opportunity to still be playing in March and, be in the NCAA tournament and in the round of 32 is something that those guys will always have with them, that will always be able to take with them. Step one was getting in the tournament. Step two was trying to survive and advance. We were able to do that in the second round, and now here we head to the third round. And, the goal is the same, to try to find a way to be a little bit better and score a few more points tomorrow than Miami. It'll be a great challenge, but one we're looking forward to.
Okay, right of the aisle, halfway back.
Max Tain, Daily Illini. First, Coach, you've seen Miami on film now. Firstly, how much coffee have you had over the last 24 hours? And secondly, what do their bigs present for you as a challenge?
Well, I've stuck with my 2 cups. Okay, so that's my deal. I have a deal with my wife. A few years ago, when we were in the tournament, I drank a couple pots. So I've tried to curtail it back. Second question, have had a chance to watch a lot of them here since our game yesterday, and really impressed. I mean, I just mentioned a lot of it at the outset here with our initial comments. But their guard play, Larkin makes everybody better. I think Larkin and Scott are really good defensively. The 3-man does a great job of playing off of people and getting shots, and is a really good 3-point shooter. They're a good 3-point shooting team. They have the ability to drive the ball to the paint. They post the ball. They're great on the glass. They have good size. They have good depth. And you can tell they're very confident, as they should be. And he's done a great job with them. They're an older team. Some of their guys are 5th year, and I think in one case even a 6th-year guy. So they're an older team, which I'm sure, he would tell you probably played to their advantage all season long. I've always said I think experience is a great teacher. We've got, like I said, we've got our hands full, but one that our guys are, excited about.
Okay, at the table all the way over on the far left.
John, Mark Tupper, Decatur Herald Review. John, how similar are Larkin and Trey Burke?
Well, I think there's some similarities in primarily, and I'll keep it simple, Mark, in two regards. And one is the fact that both of them can score. They have the capability of scoring the basketball at different levels, whether it's the 3-point shot, the mid-range shot, or getting to the rim. When you do foul them, both of them make free throws. They're very well-rounded scoring players. The second part that I think that makes them similar, as indicative of his stat line, Larkin's stat line yesterday when he had, was it 8 or 9 assists, I don't have it in front of me, is that they have the ability to make guys better around them with the pass. They see things. They can make their team better. They make their teammates better. So I think in those 2 ways, they're certainly similar.
Okay, to the right here, third row.
Stu Durando, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Coach, Brandon was in here. He was talking a little bit about how impressed he was when you first got there, taking the time to get to know each player individually. What types of things did you ask them when you met with them, and how did that help you as a coach, especially getting to know a new team?
Well, it was really important. I've said all along, I think it's difficult. There's different ways to skin a cat, Stu, but for me, I've always felt like to coach our players, I have to know them. I just talked about it with the gentleman in the back, whether that's, what motivates each guy, how do they learn best, what drives them, what are their goals, what are their, we all have them, insecurities, what are their hopes, what are their dreams, where are their minds at, where are they at academically, do they have a girlfriend, what's their dog's name, cat's name, where do you live? Just all those brothers, sisters, names, mom, dad, all those different things, family situation, background, just in terms of trying to learn as much as you can about them. I think it's, in my experience in coaching, we care a lot about our guys. Our assistant coaches do an unbelievable job. They do. They deserve a lot of credit. in terms of getting to know our players as well. But, I've always said if they feel that it's very genuine and they know that you care about them as people first and students second and then athletes third, then, they usually run through a wall for you. And, these guys have done that. I'm grateful for that. They were very open-minded. It's the one thing I remember about those meetings. And as our relationship has grown it's basically been a year, last March until now, it's been pretty cool. I've enjoyed getting to know each and every one of them. And, those guys are, part of our family. My wife would tell you that. And they'll always be a part of our family. They've done a great job in terms of being open-minded. And I think it's a big reason why, we've been able to have some success.
Far left in the rear.
Hi, Coach. Paul Banks, thesportsbank.net in Chicago now. With all the Chicago guys on your roster, the history of the recruiting pipeline of the public league, especially Simeon, the aggressive efforts by the AD to market to Chicago, how much does each tournament win here mean for Chicago in that area?
Well, I think it means a lot for Illinois. It means obviously a lot for our alums and all of Illini Nation, and Chicago's a huge part of that. That's our largest alumni base or network of people. A lot of alums up there. I think it certainly helps. I think I've always said success breeds success, and I think it gives credibility for sure. We still have a long way to go, and we haven't arrived by any means. But the one thing and you mentioned our athletic director and just our whole administration, we understand the importance of our state and of Chicago, and I know he's working very diligently. Our staff is as well. We're all doing our part to connect, and I think that's the most important thing. Every day I get up, I love going to work, because every person that I come in contact with at the University of Illinois that's around our program wants to get better every day. And I think that's the type of organization that you want to be in. And certainly our push in that area is one of those areas where we're attacking aggressively.
Standing on the far right here.
Coach Michael Cascarande, Sun Sentinel. I just wanted to know what you saw from the film study of Miami's perimeter defense.
Well, I think Larkin and Scott are terrific on defense. I think their size, allows those guys to even be more aggressive at times because you're funneling into bigs and a lot of depth up front. I think they're very, very sound. I think those two guys are really, really good on-ball defenders, and they get contributions from other guys too. But, there's no question that, they stand out in terms of their ability, especially to guard the basketball.
Far left.
Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. Coach, Larkin and Duran Scott get most of the headlines and most of the stats. What do the big guys do that doesn't show up on the score sheet that concerns another coach?
Well, just their size, their ability to rebound, offensive rebound, defensive rebound, their ability to play the post with their size. I think those guys screen well. They do a good job of getting deep position and, for the most part, scoring around the basket well. I think they bring a lot to their team. And then they come off the bench with, even more size. So I think their depth up front is also really a strength for them.
Right, third row.
Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune. It seems like anytime you ask anybody about Nana Egwu, the first thing they say is how hard he works. I'm just wondering what you've seen from him in terms of his dedication for his development and the progress he's made this season.
Well, he's made a ton of progress, and I think even, my hope, Shannon, is this time next year we see even another leap. I don't see any reason why. He's only been playing the game for about 6 years now, 6+ years. He's going to continue to get stronger. His work ethic is off the charts. You're exactly right. When you say Nana Egwu, one of the first things that comes to mind for me is his work ethic and how hard he works. He works every day. His character is exceptional. He's going to do whatever you ask him to do and then some. And I really appreciate that about Nana. He cares about the University of Illinois. It means something to him that he's from Chicago, plays at the state school. He takes a lot of pride in that. So, he's got a lot of great attributes, and I think because of that, you're going to see him, not only has he got better this season, I think you're going to continue to see him get better.
Left of the aisle.
Marcus Jackson, Champaign News-Gazette. All season, these guys have kind of taken an us against the world approach, and tomorrow's probably another example of that, where not a lot of people are giving you much of a chance. But how much does that influence the way they play and the way they compete?
Well, I think it does some. You know, it's only human nature, I think, when you hear, and they heard it going into yesterday's game. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people that picked us yesterday, Marcus, either. And those guys know that. I mean, I can't stop them from, you know, I can maybe assist them in not tweeting, but I can't stop them from reading social media and, you know, watching TV in their rooms and in their hotel rooms. I mean, they know. I think pride takes over a little bit. We got a lot of proud guys in our locker room, a lot of competitive guys, and you know, I'm sure that they're looking forward to the challenge tomorrow. But you're right, they've been in so many situations where their backs have been against the wall and no one gave them a chance from the beginning, really, until now. So, you know, they're used to that. I think it drives them a little bit. I think if you're a competitor, then it certainly does that.
Right side, third row.
Stu Durando, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Coach, I understand you and your staff keep track of a pretty vast array of statistics. Can you just talk about your love of the numbers part of the game and where that came from? Well,
I don't think it tells the entire story, obviously, because you're talking about a team game. You're talking about connection of 5 players playing the game together out there, and you know, that's as or more important. Having said that, I do think statistics can tell you a lot. You know, we use them, you know, quite a bit. You know, looking at a team's efficiency, both offensively and defensively, looking at individual player characteristics. I think all those things are helpful, you know, especially on quick turnarounds. You know, I remember how we used to scout back in the 90s when I started, and guys before that would even say they remember when they used to live scout. It's changed so much now. Everything's video. You can get information a lot more rapidly, and I think that's helpful certainly in tournament settings for sure.
In the rear below the camera.
Follow up on that. Sorry, Ethan Osopsky, Daily Illini. I would follow up on that. Just does being a math teacher at all, you know, help for your love of numbers?
Yeah, I've always loved numbers. I was a math teacher at one point, and you know, I think that's probably some of that. You know, being around sports my whole life, counting. You know, I've got a 7-year-old son, and he plays his bracket out every day. So I went to his parent-teacher conference last week, and they told me that he was exceptional with numbers. So to say I was proud would be an understatement. But yeah, math, that's kind of our background a little bit, and it's carried over to Connor, which is good. But I do think you can learn a lot from statistics, and we certainly use those to our advantage.
Okay, right of the aisle here.
Michelle Kaufman from Miami Herald. Hearing you talk about that, Coach Larranaga is also a total numbers freak, number cruncher. He was an economics major in college and uses all those computer statistics and all that. I'm just wondering, do you feel any kinship with him also, having been in a mid-major and what he did with George Mason? And, you know, how much did you follow his career, and what do you think about him as a coach?
Well, I've followed his career a great deal. I mean, I think anyone that's in the business knows, you know, Coach Larranaga and his story. You know, he and I are nothing more than acquaintances. Having said that, I, you know, don't happen to come from the same coaching tree that he does. I come from a different one. I coached against his team in my first year as a head coach when he was at George Mason. We played on the road there at George Mason. You know, that was a tough environment, and he did a great job during his tenure there. I've always watched his teams. I've always admired his personality. You can see that he really cares for his players. And you can tell that guys really are attracted to that. You know, so I have a lot of admiration for him, and then certainly I think his coaching, you know, speaks for itself, and what he's done at George Mason, what he's done with this crew. You know, my assistant coach, Dustin Ford, was a player at Ohio when he was coaching at Bowling Green. So there's some familiarity there, but you know, certainly have a lot of respect for him and what he's done at, you know, each and every program that he's been a part of.
Okay, in the rear far left.
Following up on that math question, being a math guy, do you pay any attention to the Bracketology's RPI, strength of schedule, all those statistical things, or is that just a distraction?
I let my sports information director do that all year, just because I felt like I can't tell our players to be locked in one game at a time and control the controllables and then be unlike them. I think that would have been hypocritical. So I don't do that. Be honest with you, I didn't pay attention to any of that or know what those things really were until after we finished the Big Ten tournament. Then at that point in time, we were done, and that's when I started asking DB, Derek Burson, our media relations guy, some questions about it. But up until that point, none at all.
Far right in the rear.
John, this doesn't concern your matchup, but Minnesota is here, and you face them. Obviously, they had the best rebounding differential in the Big Ten. What is it that makes them so tough?
Wow. Probably coach's disposition. I mean, his teams have always been that way if you follow him back, not only during his tenure at Minnesota, but his tenure at Kentucky. I mean, they've been great at rebounding the ball. You're right. I mean, I don't know where they stand now statistically. We were talking about numbers, but, prior to the game we played them in the Big Ten tournament, they were #1 in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage, #1 in the Big Ten during Big Ten games. Very physical, do a great job of rebounding the basketball. Obviously, you can't get better than being ranked #1 in that area. So that's an area of concern every time that we played them.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We'll let
Thanks.
you go.